Hello, it's Kelsey on Kingdom Fit Moms podcast, and we're talking about late night snacking. And this is what I see and hear from you guys, that you do well all day long. Oftentimes you eat your eggs and veggies for breakfast, maybe fruit and peanut butter for a snack, you have leftovers for lunch, maybe even have a healthy dinner, and you're so proud of yourself. And then you sit down on the couch at night and you take a deep breath and you think about how you survived this day. Hopefully you thrived through the day, but nobody's around and you have a minute to yourself, and then you start snacking, and before you know it, you have mindlessly eaten out of a chip bag and then topped it off with a few cookies, and then you snap back to reality and think, what just happened? So no shame, sister, because we've probably all been there. And whether or not this is your story, we're going to take some time to talk about 5 hacks to stop the late night snacking. So go grab your pen and paper and let's get practical about how to kick the habit that may very well be sabotaging your weight loss. Hey, welcome to the Kingdom Fit Moms podcast, where we believe that you can go on a journey to lose weight for the last time. I know you've tried all the things and you may not believe me yet, but when you do weight loss the Kingdom Fit Moms way, everything changes. You're in the right place if weight is constantly on your mind, you're confused about food, you're missing out on memories, and maybe even putting your dreams off for another day because this weight struggle is no joke. We're a community and we're on a mission to invite God into this weight loss journey so you can shed the burden and shine your light. I want you to start living and believing in the version of yourself that heaven sees. Let's get started. So you want to lose weight, feel sexy again, you want to get that confidence back and have energy all afternoon. But the thought of doing all that work to get there, it feels daunting, and I hear you, mama. And what sounds even worse is putting in all this effort and then failing and wasting your precious time and energy only to end up right where you started. All right, no more wasting time, energy, and money, because my course, Fit Moms Accelerator, it's going to teach you how to lose weight with simple, bite-sized steps that are sustainable and they get the scale moving in the right direction quickly. I've had multiple students comment after dropping 5, 10, 20 pounds or more that they never knew it could be this easy. You just have to log into your learning portal, and literally everything I give you is in 1 or 2 bite-sized steps to implement week by week, so that by the time you're done with the accelerator, you have an entire new foundation for health. And you didn't even have to necessarily step foot in a gym or solely munch on carrots. So I'm going to show you how hundreds of women have become set free from diet culture through simple and streamlined processes that allow you not only to see the scale drop, but also to learn how to let God heal you from why the struggle exists in the first place. It's a beautiful process. So come jump into Fit Moms Accelerator so I can show you how to get to your goal weight faster than you thought possible, so you can stop hiding and start living out the amazing, unique, God-given call on your life in freedom. Go right now to kelseywickenhauser.com/join and sign up to join us inside of Fit Moms Accelerator. All right, are you ready? Let's talk through 5 hacks to stop the late night snacking. And I'm not saying that late night snacking is evil or that you should be legalistic and never do it again. But we got to be real with ourselves, and I'm sure that if this is a struggle, that it's probably something maybe that has become a habit that you don't really want in your life anymore. So just for perspective, when we're talking weight loss, now from a calorie standpoint, I'm talking about calories just so that you get an idea a reference range. Calories are not the end all be all. We need to get into what type of food you're consuming, but in general, generally speaking, you have to get into approximately a 500 calorie deficit per day to lose a pound per week. So that's 3,500 calories. 3,500 calories is about a pound of fat. So 500 calorie deficit a day gets you down a pound a week. 1,000 calorie deficit a day is about 2 pounds a week. Again, just reiterating, I do not count calories. I think there's an easier way, but it's helpful to kind of have an idea of some of the science behind how weight loss happens. And of course, you want these to be high quality, nutrient dense calories. Okay, so there are other variables here, but this perspective is helpful when you're considering your late night snacking and what this could be doing to your weight loss journey. So just for example, your bowl of chips, maybe you sit down, you watch your favorite show, and maybe you have the bag, which if you are eating right out of the bag, stop, at least get a bowl so you have a stopping point. But let's say you're having a bowl of chips. That can easily get up to 500 calories, even up to 1,000 calories very easily because it's empty food. It doesn't have much that is nutrient dense. It's very addictive by design. So that little deficit that you need per day is easily destroyed with this late night snacking. Also, 3 cookies, that's pretty easily over 500 calories. That bowl of ice cream, yeah, you were in a deficit maybe, but then you just blew it. So I'm just going over some common binge-worthy foods that I hear about a lot at night. Okay, so how do we stop the late night snacking? Because we want to be consistently eating real food, and then we want to consistently get into a deficit so that we can see the scale drop and we're building muscle and changing body composition. So how do we stop the late night snacking? So here are 5 hacks that you need to know to break through this habit and to start living with a wonderful boundary and a wonderful sense of freedom from this having a hold on you. So number 1, I want you to stop and ask yourself the question, am I hungry? We have to first take some time to reflect on why we are late night snacking. Maybe oftentimes we think that we are hungry when we're actually thirsty. So ask yourself, am I thirsty? Is this just a habit that I do every day? Sometimes we are deeply ingrained in things that are habitual. Or is there an emotion tied to this? This is very common. And if so, I want you to start thinking about, what am I feeling? Got to get in touch with those emotions, right? Am I stressed? Am I needing some relief? Am I in need of comfort? So we know that food can give us that dopamine surge. It can help us to escape those negative emotions. It can help us to feel a sense of reprieve or relaxation. So if this is becoming a coping mechanism, we need to figure out why. So the why, these are some of the things that we dive into more inside of my course, inside of Fit Moms Accelerator. And then I very often work through these individually with my students in the academy. So again, as a reminder, the Accelerator, that's our 10-week weight loss boot camp. Get a whole year access to the course and the community. And then many of my students, after they are going through the content, they may hit a roadblock or they want some more coaching to really dive deep and break free. And so they come into the academy and we hang out for 6 months in this seriously amazing community. I can't speak highly enough of these women. So all that to say, it's important to start digging into the why, because if you're just trying to modify this behavior, it'll work for a while, okay? We can do behavioral modifications, but if this is cyclical, there's something else to it. So the sooner you dive in to figure out what's going on in your heart and your mind, the sooner you're going to have freedom. Sometimes those bad roots that we need to dig up, they're tied to late night snacking, like seeking comfort in food or reprieve or seeing food as reward. So again, for example, if you've had a long day, you're hanging out with your kids and maybe you feel a sense of inadequacy as a mom, as we all probably do at times. You sit down at night and you just feel like you need some comfort, or you need to feel like you're good enough, and these are some undealt with roots, and so you don't know how to deal with the things that are stirring inside of you, and it's uncomfortable, and so food again becomes that comfort. That's just one example. Sometimes though, it is just a habit, okay? And we need to break this. We need to have some pattern interrupt and start to do things differently. And that's a little bit easier to break through. We just have to change some things in your environment. And sometimes at night, you really may be hungry. And so it's worth asking yourself, am I hungry? And if not, go down all the questions and the thoughts that I just mentioned. Okay. So number 2, if you want to stop late night snacking, you need to set yourself up for success with a high protein dinner. Okay. So along with that, you may want to add in some healthy fat like avocados or nuts, for example. You want to make sure that you have plenty of these foods because they digest slower and they keep you feeling fuller longer. So if it's 6 o'clock when you're eating and you're eating a whole plate of pasta and you have no protein, that's going to process in and out of your system in 3-ish hours time. And then you're going to, if you're not going to bed till 10, then you're going to maybe feel some hunger before nighttime. It depends on how much you eat. But if you are eating at 6 o'clock and you have a nice chicken breast with some vegetables, an avocado, and maybe a little bit of a sweet potato, that's going to keep you fuller longer as long as you're getting an adequate amount at that meal, okay? So it's much less tempting to eat late at night when you feel full. Okay, number 3, I want you, and this is absolutely critical in anybody's life, if you want to have a sustainable weight loss journey. If you do not do this, okay, it's not only going to be hard to quit late night snacking, but it's going to be hard to succeed long term because it takes a lot of willpower to continue to fight temptation. So number 3 is I want you to set up a blue zone in your house. Blue zones, if you're not familiar, they're areas of the world where people, a large percentage of their population live to be over 100. And so some scientists went out to figure out what are they doing and how are they living, and they eat a lot of real food, they live in community, and they don't live to eat, okay? They have greater purpose and they really thrive throughout all their years, generally speaking. Overall, the thing about blue zones is the healthy choice is the easy choice. So you got to do this in your house. If you have bags of chips and cookies and leftover pizza and soda, you are seriously setting yourself up to fail. So don't do that to yourself. And again, it's like constantly dangling this little temptation in front of you. So stop that. And then, oftentimes I'll be coaching women in the academy and they say, I just can't resist this. And, my family's eating, stuff at night and I feel like I just can't say no. Well, sometimes you just have to rip the Band-Aid off and be the manager of your home and say, we're not doing this anymore. You have to set a new standard of what's normal. Sometimes you gotta be the bad guy for a little bit to ultimately have your family's best interest in mind. Okay, you're changing your family legacy, and if you always have Doritos and Cheetos and cookies and all that stuff laying around your house, you're like fighting a losing battle. Okay, so don't do that. This is your job. Nobody else will do this except for you, most likely. Okay. So with that being said, like in our home, we have our stuff in our fridge. We do our meal planning of the week. That's what we buy. For snacks, we have fruit, we have bars, we have cheese, we have meat sticks. I mean, it's pretty simple. And, my kids, they'll complain sometimes. We don't have any snacks. We don't have anything to eat. But then I'll also make real food snacks. So I'll make oatmeal, peanut butter balls. I'll make those pumpkin oat cookies, for breakfast, things like that make it a little bit more fun for them, but they just get used to it and they don't expect to have a bunch of junk food in the house. Okay, number 4 The number 4 thing you need to do to stop late night snacking is to just go to bed. Go to bed, my friend. Seriously, just turn off your phone, turn off the TV. If you're being honest with yourself, it's probably garbage TV. It's probably not fruitful for your life most of the time, and do you really want to be spending your time on that anyway? If you're looking at the grand scheme of life and how short life is, this has really been a conviction for my husband and I over the past few years, thinking about how culturally we spend so much time being entertained on things that are ultimately filled with the lifestyle that we don't want to be a part of. And so I really don't see many shows that get me excited about living out my kingdom purpose. And truly, I'd rather go out and be a part of the kingdom than watch other people's lives every day. And hopefully you do too. But, I digress. This is a long tangent I could go on. But the point is, if it's happening every night and you're zoning out and then you're snacking, then stop. Okay, go grab a book, get in bed. And when you're tired, go to sleep. And be expectant, like maybe getting more sleep, God will give you visions and dreams, and you'll start connecting more to the Spirit and get excited for a life with the Spirit. It's so much better than watching a TV show, I promise you. So go to bed, okay? Let's see. And again, hear me out. Like, this is not legalistic. You get the idea here, but going to sleep will drastically decrease that temptation for late night snacking. Okay? All right. So number 5, the last thing I want you to do to help stop late night snacking is to set a boundary for a season. For example, maybe you say that eating stops at 7 or 7:30 and make it very simple and then stick to it. God, He is a God who gives us plenty of boundaries for our good, and they're actually freeing when we have a clear guide for what to do. It's not legalistic again, but this is creating an opportunity to reduce decision fatigue. So just having a general rule of life, especially in this season of, okay, 7 o'clock hits and I don't eat, or I eat dinner and then I'm done. So it motivates you to go back to number 2 and make sure you get enough protein and healthy fats, and you can drink water, maybe have a cup of tea at night instead, and you just have a boundary. All right, so now it's your turn. I want you right now to get on your phone and pull up the Kingdom Fit Moms community on Facebook. If you're not in, click and join us because we want to get to know you. We want to meet you. And then inside the community, can you tell us what is the number 1 food that you eat late at night? It's nice to have people to say, yeah, that's me too. I get it, right? We're in the struggle with you. And is late night snacking a struggle for you? Maybe it's not. And tell us if it's not. What are the things that you're doing? How have you overcome this? Or what is your mindset around this issue? And then from this episode, I want you to tell us in the community, what do you recognize that you need to do first? Like, which of these 5 steps do you need to implement? Do you need to establish some new habits or some boundaries? Maybe you need a community to keep you accountable. And if so, we want to invite you. Come jump into Fit Moms Accelerator, where you'll get practical tips like this and a specific step-by-step process to habit stack your way to a healthy lifestyle. And the best part is we'll teach you to do this deep dive and understand how to invite the Holy Spirit in and heal from why food has become comfort or reward, and heal that relationship with food to see it as a good gift from God. So go to KelseyWickenhauser.com/join, and I'll see you inside. And then before you say goodbye on this podcast, go into Kingdom Fit Moms, our free Facebook community, and tell us all the things about your journey through late night snacking. Okay, I'll see you next time. Hey Fit Mom, if this episode blessed you today and you can think of somebody else who's struggling in her weight loss journey, would you consider sharing this week's episode with her to give her a sense of hope? And then while you're at it, hop on over to our free Facebook community, Kingdom Fit Moms, for daily encouragement and support. Let's go shed the weight to shine the light.